Hattiesburg and Pine Ridge around 645. Oak Grove around 650.
Okay.
West Hattiesburg around 655, and Sunrise and Petal around 710.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Rex. So basically, there you go. These storms, at least for this particular tornado warning storm for the areas near Pine Bur, you can see Mississippi Highway 13 there. This would be south of 98 for now. It's largely going to follow just south of US 98, even as it makes its way towards the 589. So if you are south of Bellevue, south of the gas station there, this includes areas out by the Dollar General and, of course, St. Fabian's, out you guys all along 589 there. So you need to make sure that if you happen to be in western Lamar, west of 589 especially, and north of the county seat of Purvis, you need to be in your safe space. I'm going to see if I can get this tool. There you go. So I'm going to move that away for you there, and I'm going to pick up my little, see, I got a little tool belt here on my radar, and I got to make sure that I click on the right one for you guys, so that way you're all good to go there. But once again, you can see here, we see a bunch of noise here, but once again, with this tornado warning, things can spin up quickly. And of course, with this particular setup, sometimes it can be very hard to distinguish whether or not something is there. I know the other week it was very crystal clear with some types of setups, but remember, we don't see that routinely here in Mississippi, unfortunately, and so we need to make sure that we are, you're in your safe space, right? That interior room away from windows if you're under this tornado warning. This includes people in Pine Bur, right there on the Marion-Lamar County line there. And of course, if you happen to be south of Bellevue, south of Olo, if you live in Oak Grove High School, any of those folks there along the 589 north of Purvis, you are under this tornado warning as we speak. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a different type of imagery for you to see if we have anything better. Now, of course, you can see here I'm switching back and forth. This is Jackson, and now we've got Hammond. So for now, Hammond's radar is slightly better resolution for this particular cell, and you can see that once again, even with this tornado warning, there's not necessarily a very distinct hook, if you will. So this is something that it's not necessarily confirmed. It's a tornado warning where we want to make sure that if you are under this red polygon on the map, i.e. if you are south of Highway 98, you are north of Baxterville, north of Purvis there, you've got to be in your safe space with this particular tornado warned storm. The ingredients have come together. It's just a matter of whether or not something is actually there, and that can be very difficult to distinguish with the imagery we have right here. Okay, so now as we look at the radar here, of course, you can see the warning that does extend. Since this warning extends about an hour ahead of us, at least for now, if all the ingredients remain together, this could include folks in Forest County as well. But for now, the main feature is going to be right there in the Marion-Lamar County line. Let me see if I can pull up anything else for you for the correlation coefficient, see if anything else comes together here. And of course, you can see once again, look at all this noise here. See how there's a big line? I'm going to pull up my pointy arrow for you so you can see it. There you go. So now you see the pointy arrow right there. This big bright band, this is not going to be necessarily a CC drop, a correlation coefficient drop or debris detection in terms of what we're looking at here. But basically, we look for a very concise blue blip. It looks almost like a little circle or a donut or a hole. Any sort of term you like to use, there you go. So I'm going to pull up the radar once again for you guys there, and of course we will make sure to zoom right back in. So this particular tornado warning, you can see, look at all the heavy rain there near Pine Bur. Of course, you can also see that there may be small hail affiliated with this severe thunderstorm as well. But of course, remember, if you are going to be anywhere north of Pine Bur and of course into the Lamar County side south of 98, so that's south of Vesley's Nursery and all that, that's south of Bellevue, and of course all of those sorts of folks there, you can see here Pine Ridge, Oklahola, all you folks there in Lamar, if you happen to be in the western fringes of Hattiesburg or west of Hattiesburg or even southeast of Columbia, you can see here as we make our way southeast of Columbia, that is going to include some of you folks there on the Lamar-Forest County line. I'm going to see if I can pull up some more roads here for you. Okay, so now you can see here we've got Purvis to Columbia Road, and then of course that's going to be a lot of folks along Purvis-Olo Road, Caney Church Road, and then of course a lot of folks out by Pine Ridge. So Marion, Lamar, you guys need to be in your safe space now. We're going to pull up velocity from Hammond, And this is perhaps one of the most impressive imagery that we have, at least right now. But once again, something is not necessarily occurring, but we have to treat it as if it is such. Since things are so messy today, there's going to be times where, even if it's not well defined on radar, it still could be there. And so that's why we don't want to take any chances if you are under this tornado warning. Once again, there's a tornado warning in effect for a portion of Marion. This particular tornado warning storm is about to move out of Marion County. It's located south-southeast of Columbia. You can see Highway 13 there and the Pearl River. If you are west of the Pearl River, you are in the clear. You are not affiliated with this tornado warning. This is going to be for folks east of the Pearl River and even east of Highway 13 now, areas like Pine Bur and the immediate vicinity. So you can see here, look at all the bright colors here. You notice that we don't have an equally bright region or an equally green and bright region on the other side. So even though it is clear that we have some of the brighter colors, it is clear that we have the tornado warning, it's not necessarily clear to me whether or not we have something for
Hey, Nick,
now.
I got something to tell you.
Please, go ahead, Rex.
National Weather Service in Jackson says southward moving outflow extending from Kokomo to Columbia to Sumrall will soon interact with a potentially tornadic storm in southern Marion County. Hopefully this will undercut and interfere with the circulation. So far there are no signs of a TDS. Areas of greatest concern is of Hub and Pine Bur.
Thank you so much, Rex. So when he was talking about, especially with that TDS there, as I was talking about with the correlation coefficient, right, or the debris detector, the TDS, it's all the same thing, right? They're all synonyms of another, which basically means that you can use them to describe the same thing. But we don't necessarily, there you go. Okay, here we go. So this is what we're looking at here with this particular tornado that now, according to the National Weather Service, is on the ground. But remember, you see how this is messy. You can see here, yes, we have the bright colors, but we don't necessarily have anything on the correlation coefficient. Let's take a look here. Okay, here we go. So I'm getting an update of a debris signature. So let's see if we've got our latest sweep has come in yet. Let's see, Jackson. Okay, so look, the folks at Jackson are telling me that they have a debris signature. I don't necessarily, I'm waiting to see if we get a better update that's more defined.
Yeah, I'm getting that. I'm not seeing anything here either.
Yeah, man. Okay, so look, folks. All right. Once again, this is not something you want to go out and watch. These are rain wrapped. It is nighttime, at least for now. And then, of course, you notice with this tornado on the ground, according to the National Weather Service, this is going to be the Marion-Lamar County line. This is a tornado that is reported as on the ground for now. Although even with this messy setup, it is not. It's very hard to see whether or not it's actually there on radar, but we have to treat it as if something is on the radar. You can see here with this tornado that is reported as on the ground. This is going to be folks that, of course, I'm going to pull up my pointy area for you. Once again, if you're just joining me from Marion, Lamar, maybe even Forest County or elsewhere, look, this is going to include this small portion of Marion here, just north of Pine Bur, just to the northwest of Baxterville. But of course, if you are anywhere in Lamar County that is south of US 98, in, of course, Bellevue, Oak Grove High School, north of Purvis, the immediate vicinity there, Oklahola, all you folks there, you're going to be under this tornado warning. Even the community of Dixie there, and of course, you can see Interstate 59. This is something that if you happen to know someone that is going to be driving through I-59 in this particular stretch right now, I would make sure, see if you can get in touch with them, because you do not want to be caught in this type of situation where you're not going to be able to see the tornado. It may seem like a thunderstorm, but of course, you know, as indicated with this tornado that is on the ground, according to what we have right now, this is something that can be a life-threatening situation. You got to be in your safe space. That involves that innermost room, right? With this innermost room, you got to be away from windows, whether that's a half bathroom, whether that's a laundry room, a closet, whatever you have, that is going to be your best bet there. Let's see if we can pull up anything else for you. We're going to switch back and forth between Hammond and Jackson for you. And you can see here, you can see some brighter colors here. I guarantee you that's what they're looking at. I'm going to see if we can pull up anything better. There you go.
Hey, can you pull up the Skycam at Pine Belt Honda? There's a lot of lightning on it.
I guarantee you, yes. So, Rex brings up an excellent point. There's a lot of lightning here, but if you look here, this is our correlation coefficient. Look at this blue blip, okay? This is exactly what we're talking about. So Rex was talking about all the lightning. These are very healthy storms. They have proved to do so the last several hours, and that's why we're seeing this tornado warning right now. Do you see this blue blip right here north of Pine Bur? This is a tornado that is on the ground in Marion County, and it is about to cross the Lamar County line. So Caney Church Road, Purvis to Columbia Road, Purvis Olo Road, Highway 13, areas just to the north of that, north of Baxterville, you need to be in your safe space. We have our tornadic debris signature. That this is exactly what the National Weather Service was talking about just a moment ago, and now that my radar is refreshing here, this is exactly what we need to be mindful of. So with this tornado on the ground, this is an active situation with this blue blip here. I'm going to pull up my little arrows here, and of course you'll be able to see right here. This is your tornado right here. It is on the ground with this correlation coefficient. So when we talk about the correlation coefficient, right, we look for things that are basically not the same. So when we look at a storm, right, it's all the same. It's all water. But when we look at debris detection, we're going to be talking about things that are different from rain. So this could be trees, this could be metal, this could be any sort of debris that is lofted that the radar is picking up. And of course, you can see that basically the circulation here, it is now crossing the Marion County, Lamar County line. So Pine Bur, you are basically no longer involved in this. This is going to involve Lamar County from here on out. Let's see here. I'm going to zoom out just slightly here with this correlation coefficient, because basically with this debris detector, it is well defined. And I'm going to see if I can switch between Hammond and Jackson for you to see if we can get any. There you go. So you can see here, look at that blue blip. See where it's consistent here, right there on the Lamar County Marion line here, south of Highway 98. This blue blip is exactly what we're concerned about with this tornado warning here. So definitely something that we have to watch. At this time, this is going to be, let's see, the time is 6:41. So we're going to be crossing into Lamar County, Purvis Columbia Road, those sorts of folks there. You need to be in your safe space with this tornado warning. This is a tornado that is on the ground at the Lamar County, Marion County line. So with all of this tornado that is on the ground right now, we're going to have to see if the correlation coefficient, this debris detector, if you will, we're going to have to see if this sticks together. We're going to have to see whether or not we see the warning continuing for a while. But as of now, the last few frames have been very promising with this potentially life-threatening situation. Once again, there is a tornado on the ground, and it will be entering Lamar County any minute if it hasn't already.
Yeah, this will soon not be Marion County's problem.
That's correct, Rex. I was taking a sip of water here, but yes, that is absolutely correct. He brings up an excellent point here, where if you're in Marion County, you are now in the clear for now as this tornado, confirmed tornado on the ground, crosses into Lamar County. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get my little pointy arrow to go away so that way I can pull up my camera tool here. I'm going to make that go away. There you go. So basically, with this tornado, this is going to involve a lot of folks in Lamar County. We're going to zoom in just a little bit, see what else we got here. So, of course, Smith Road, Purvis to Columbia Road, Tatum Salt Dome Road, Bay Creek Road, Soddy Cameron Road, Lookout Tower Road, all of you folks there, Morrow Road, Purvis, Olo Road. If any of these ring a bell, whether you're on these roads or you're in the immediate vicinity of these roads or you know someone in this area, please call them, make sure they know what is going on. There is a tornado that is on the ground. Look at this blue blip. Once again, you can see here that debris is being lofted up. Rex, do me a favor. Can you ask them how high debris is being lofted, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Thank you, Rex. So we'll see if we can get a gauge on just how high some of the debris is being lofted, because sometimes that can determine a very rough sketch on how potent this is. But regardless of intensity for this tornado, it is on the ground. That blue blip there is crossing into Lamar County if it hasn't already. Let's see if we can, I'm going to pull up my camera here, and there you go. You can see here, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And now we're going to kind of bounce back and forth between radar seeds here. You can see because basically we're right on the fringe between Hammond and Jackson here with some of that imagery. But basically you can see, look at all the brighter colors. That's exactly what I'm looking at. And I want to see whether or not the brighter colors become equally well defined. You can see it's very bright, that bright yellow on one side, but we look for something that's equally bright on the other to be very signature or textbook, if you will. But as we all know, when it comes to the textbook versus reality, it doesn't always work out that way, right? So we have to use what we have here. Once again, there is a tornado on the ground in Lamar County. I'm going to pull up the correlation coefficient once again between Hammond and, okay, so you see here, look, take a quick look. I'm going to pull up my pointy arrow once again. There you go, right there. So you see how this is not as well defined. We don't have a blue blip here anymore. So at least for now, the correlation coefficient or debris detection on the radar, it's not as well pronounced as it was just a couple frames ago. Look right there. This is going to be 37 after the hour. You can see perhaps the best frame we got there. And the tornado was on the ground. It tracked into perhaps just into Lamar County there. And of course, as of now, it's not necessarily as well defined. But once again, we are treating this like a tornado that is on the ground, regardless of whether or not we have a big blue blip here. So you can see that, this is going to have, we're going to have to watch it carefully. Let's see if we can pull up that radar for you. We're going to see if there's anything sort of that provides us a better look here on this storm. So this is out of Hammond. And you can see here that with a lot of the radar, not only you got the heavy rain, you can see some of the inflow. See this little notch here, this green little notch? This is inflow. Some of that inflow is kind of feeding the tornado or tornado-warned storm if it's not there anymore. But regardless, you can see that we rely on moisture. We rely on all of that. For that there. Were you about to say something, Rex?
Yeah, they just said the TDS extends to possibly 17,000 feet, going considerable.
Wow. Okay, so you heard it there, folks. This particular tornado warning, once again, remains a life-threatening situation. Let's see if we can pull up that correlation coefficient. There you go. Okay, so even though it went away for just a frame there, look at that. All right, so with this tornado warning, you can see here, we're going to go back and forth between radar sites, at least for now, because I want to make sure that you guys have the best imagery possible. We are making sure that you guys are good to go here. This is a life-threatening situation with a tornado that remains on the ground, even though the correlation coefficient isn't as well defined with the blue blip not necessarily being there. We are still treating this as a tornado on the ground in Lamar County. So Pine Ridge, Oklahola, Oak Grove High School, St. Fabian, Dollar General out there on 589, all those sorts of folks. You got the Lamar Baptist Association, I believe, all those sorts of folks out there. If you are going to be in any of these communities to the west of Oak Grove, to the west of Oklahola, you got to make sure that you are going to be in your safe space. Now, things to keep in mind here. If you are joining me, my Marion County friends, if you're joining me here, you are in the clear. This no longer includes Marion County. This is going to be a Lamar County tornado-warned storm with a tornado on the ground. Look at that banner. You see that banner that's showing up right there. This is a tornado that is on the ground in Lamar County. And of course, with the correlation coefficient, even though it's not as well defined as it was just a moment ago, it's still there. Look at that. I'm going to pull up that blip for you one more time here on Caney Church Road. This blip here is exactly what I'm looking at. I'm going to pull up the pointy arrow here. We have to keep watching for little blips like this, because especially with this tornado warning storm, if it continues to stay healthy, then it will remain with this sort of favorable imagery with the debris that is being lofted right now. Let's see if we can clear that for you. There you go. So I'm going to kind of zoom out just a little bit. Let me pull up my camera tool here. There you go. So now we're good there. And of course, once again, if you look carefully at all the yellow noise, if you will, up by Bellevue and Oak Grove, that is noise. We are looking at something on the far southern portion of this little polygon here. The polygon being the blinking red thing you see on your screen. This is a tornado that is on the ground in Lamar County. You need to be in your safe space. If you know someone in these areas, they have to be somewhere that is in that innermost room, away from windows. That involves things like a closet, a half bathroom, whatever it may be. Somewhere away from windows is going to be your best bet. Let's talk about what we got here. I'm going to see if I can find anything in sort of, let's see. I'm not sure if we have any sort of movement here. I'll get Rex to take a look at that in a moment. But you can see here with a lot of this, with this particular tornado warning, it remains favorable for now. Now, how long still remains to be seen as well. But we have a more unstable atmosphere for some folks to our east. So, as this makes its way eastward, we have to keep that in mind as well. This particular tornado warning is going to be something that remains a life-threatening situation as of now. Let's see if we can pull up any radar for you, see if we got anything better for you.
Nick,
yes, sir.
Emily's asked me to read something on air for her.
Okay, what do we got?
Hey. Forest County School District holding buses until warning clears. Lamar County School District Transportation, all-purpose bus routes will be delayed this morning. No buses are en route due to the tornado warning. 1 hour delay to be expected in Marion County School District as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Rex. I appreciate that. So there you go. You can hear that some of the schools are starting later this morning. And of course, with this particular tornado that is on the ground for now, we have to continue to see what's going on here. Let's see if we've got the same sort of time frame for you. For now, I believe this tornado warning was in effect until 7:15. Okay, 7:30. There you go. My bad. I misspoke. So you can see 7:30 later this morning. So you got to sit tight with me for about 40 minutes here if this tornado warned storm continues to hold itself together as of now. This includes areas in Lamar and Forest County, mind you. So with this tornado warned storm, with the tornado that is on the ground, at least for now, if you're in Forest County, you need to be watching this storm very carefully as well. I know that we were just talking about Lamar, and even though with this tornado being in Lamar, still, if you're in Forest and you happen to be in this outlined box here, this red polygon with the red and white outlines, that includes Metro Hattiesburg, Petal, Sunrise, areas, Camp Shelby, and immediately to the north, of course, along the 98 corridor, the Love's Travel Stop, all of that out there. You guys are going to be under this tornado warning polygon as well. So with all this, let's see if we can get anything better for you in terms of velocity here. See, I don't have much for now, but with these types of what's called quasi-linear setups, that's the type of line we're seeing right now. You can see here, look at how it sort of bows out, if you will. It looks almost as if like the red areas are sort of like ahead of the other red areas there along I-55 to the south. When we see things bow out kind of like that, sometimes we get this exact type of situation. So once again, we're going to go back and see if we can get anything with the correlation coefficient there in terms of debris. But once again, for now, we are treating this as if it is a tornado that is on the ground in Lamar County still as of now. This is something that we have to, let's see here. Give me one moment, guys. I'm going to pull that up right there. We're going to go back just a few frames, see what we got here.
They're saying the rotations are beginning to become more diffuse as the outflow interferes. TDS took a right southeast turn along the boundary.
Oh, yes.
Right. Patrick actually told him good because it's approaching my house in East Lamar County.
Oh, man. So that right hook, okay, so if you look very carefully at your screen, this is what Rex is talking about here with some of the National Weather Service chat folks. You can see right there, that little right-hand turn, it almost, made it's like it's turning onto a different road, right? It makes a right turn right there. That right turn is exactly what he's talking about there, that southeast turn along the boundary. So, if we continue to see interference, then that can be destructive to the tornado and the storm's health. So if there's more interference, then it won't necessarily be confirmed anymore. Because once again, look at how, we had that blue blip earlier. There was a tornado that was on the ground near Pine Bur that made its way into Lamar, but it's not necessarily, we don't have as much of a blip anymore there. We just have little tiny yellow specks. So it's not necessarily going to be as well defined. Let's see here if we can pull up. again, I am bouncing back and forth between radar sites. I want to make sure that you guys have the best imagery possible here, just to see if we can get any sort of good information for you right now. As of now, if you look carefully, I know that we see a little blue blip there. I think that that is noise, but we're going to have to make sure to watch that as we make our way through the next few moments here, because with that sort of circulation they were looking at, since it made such a hard turn and sort of fizzled at least momentarily, then we'll have to see how that will affect the warning polygon. That would be the red and white outline thing you see on your screen. That would be the tornado warning polygon. Let's see if we got anything there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Rex, if you see anything, just please keep me posted. That would be great, because I'm trying to watch this radar and make sure that we don't want, things like this can happen and they can evolve quickly. Whenever we have these particular setups with all of these thunderstorms, brief and quick spin-up tornadoes like the one we just saw with this tornado-warned storm are going to be something that defines this. It's very common on these types of days when we have what's called a quasi-linear, almost like I hate to say a fake line, because it's definitely a line of weather, folks, but it's just a science term we like to use to describe this particular setup here. And it's these types of tornadoes, they can be short-lived. This is not going to be one of those days where you see long track storms. If you remember, just a couple weeks ago, we had well-defined stuff. We had well-defined debris detection. We had well-defined storms. We had everything was well-defined, but rarely is that always the case. Normally, when we here in the Pine Belt, when we get lines of thunderstorms like this, quick little spin-up tornadoes are going to be the name of the game here. So,
yeah, I'm not seeing anything where they're just still talking about the tornado. I think the warning's still up, but they're not really mentioning the tornado as much as they were. But
yeah, if I had to guess, with a lot of the I'm checking the velocity and all of that, some of the circulation behind the storm, it isn't as well defined. You can see here we don't have any of these bright colors sort of dancing with one another. And so, of course, that is definitely a sign that is good, at least for now, momentarily. We want that to be the case, where the circulation is less defined. We don't have any sort of debris being lofted, because we did have that tornado earlier, but as of now, this tornado warning is still in effect, but we don't necessarily have anything that's indicating that is on the ground. But regardless, until this tornado warning expires, if you are in this polygon, you need to make sure that you remain in your safe space as of now. We're going to have to make sure that we watch that.
Well, I got something new, Nick.
Yes, sir.
The TDS is no longer apparent from the HDC, and circulation continues to diminish. As the feature has been pushed out of the current tornado warning, the tornado warning will be canceled. There are no plans for a new tornado warning at this time.
Okay, well, that is excellent news, Rex. So when we were talking about how it's not as well defined, they were evaluating this at the same time we were. And so now that they're evaluating this, they saw that sharp right turn where it sort of fizzled. This is exactly what we look for when we have favorable data that shows a continual downward trend. So we're going to be standing by to see if that tornado warning gets canceled, but if I had to bet, it won't be very long from now. We will stick with you until it is canceled, though, because we want to make sure that you guys are good to go there. You can see here that, of course, for now, there is still a tornado warning here for Forest and Lamar counties, but at least for now, we are expecting that the National Weather Service will cancel this tornado warning as of now. There you go.
They just canceled it, yep.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So there you go. We have a tornado warning expiration. If you are joining me from Lamar or Forest counties, there is no longer a tornado on the ground. There is no longer a tornado warning. Just have to make sure to keep in mind with these severe thunderstorms, we're going to continue to see a lot of gusty winds, possibly small hail, for the duration of the next few hours here in the Pine Belt. Thank you for joining me here.